All right, we are live. Welcome to BDQ Casts. I am CoDameron. I am here with my buddy Greg and Joe. Gonna pop in for a hot second. All right. We are raring up to start the cast of the. This is the Nova Grand Championship, top 16.
Yep.
The game winner is actually going to be me, and that's I'm gonna have Greg and Joe here. They're good friends of the cast, good friends of me for a while now. And Greg actually casted a game at Gen Con with me.
Gen Con, yeah. Yep, one of the sealed events.
Yeah, fantastic games.
Yep.
This game is going to be me and Erich. Erich is going to come by in a little bit. We're going to talk about the format. We're going to talk about the games. Greg, how was your tournament?
Oh, it was pretty good. I mean, other than getting creamed by you in the very first game, it was pretty good.
That's on camera.
It was, yes.
If you want to check that out, go watch it back. Those were close games. It did go to game 3.
Yeah. I tried the best that I could. I pulled out some sneaky tricks, but it just wasn't enough. But
yeah. Speaking of, this tournament is a wacky format. For those of you who don't know, the format is sealed triad. So what that means is you get 3 decks, and you're stuck with them. You sleeve all 3 of them, and then you have to go and play your rounds with all 3 of those decks. You sit down, you put your 3 decks on the table, and your opponent gets to ban one of them based on house composition alone.
Yep.
Right?
Nothing else.
Nothing else. And this was a lot of question marks. Like, what does this format mean? Going into it. But how did you come out thinking about this format?
So Joe and I were talking about this earlier, and I think I talked about this with you as well. Really, the best way to approach it, I believe, is to look at what are the strengths of your deck. So I had a lot of decks that had a lot of board presence. So what I was thinking of is not necessarily, a lot of people were saying maybe you should just always ban a Shadows deck. Because Shadows in Coda was really strong.
Yep.
Shadows in AOA still can end up being pretty strong if you end up with things like double too much to protect or a bunch of Ronnie wrist clocks.
It's the thing that's going to give you your Amber control.
Exactly. But if I know I need to maintain board to win, I'm going to think about maybe I want to ban disc decks that could potentially wipe me. Maybe I want to, if my opponent only has one Brobnar Sanctum deck, maybe I want to ban that deck so I know I have the board advantage. So I think that's the best way to sort of play.
I found myself with a lot of key control in a lot of my decks, and realized that I actually wanted to ban Untamed decks a lot because I was afraid of the Chodas and the easy key
that
cheats.
makes sense, yeah. I think you're right. I think everyone's sort of in agreement that in this scenario, you really want to think about what your decks do and what your opponent's decks could potentially do and ban based on that.
Right, but although this was a crazy format, and the tough part was you had to win with the deck. If you pulled one bad deck and it didn't get banned, you might lose that round just twice. Because you still have to win with both of your decks.
True.
And all the matches that we're going to see today, it's the top 16, they're all still going to be this sealed triad format, which they're all 2 out of 3. You're going to see some sort of a ban phase. You're going to see some sort of 2 out of 3 game, right? Where none of the matchups are ever going to be the same. And that's one of the other things that's really cool about this format is you may have a rematch with somebody. You may have multiple games against the deck, but every time you win a game, you switch decks, and the matchup is entirely new. Things that you were afraid of, you're not going to see again. You might not see again. And I felt really refreshing. Like I'm really playing a ton of different games of Keyforge. But Greg, we'll see you and Joe a little bit later.
Yep.
We'll see you real soon.
See you around.
But right now, I want to talk to my top 16 opponent, Mr. Erich Taylor, Justice Blinded from Team SAS. How are you, Erich?
Yo, I'm doing good, Colby. How you doing?
Erich, how was your tournament run?
Well, it was pretty good up until now. It's about to be pretty bad. The beating shall commence promptly. But no, it's been pretty good. I've been on a weird train where I have no Logos, no Brobnar, and no Dis in any of my decks. All my decks are 4 houses. I mean, they're all 3 each, obviously, but they're a combination of one of 4 houses.
Has one deck gotten banned more often than the others?
It's actually been closer to an even split between the 2 decks that have Shadows because Shadows decks get banned.
Yeah.
This is what happens.
Yeah.
But you can be super adventurous and ban the non-Shadows deck if you want.
Should I do that?
I mean, you can.
So I have okay, those are my 3 decks.
Sorry, I had to run to the bathroom. I didn't have a chance to put them out. So like my decks are Shadows.
Hold on, go get your decks and put them on the table. Or don't, just fine.
It's fine. No, they're in a. I'll tell you, it's Shadows, Sanctum, Mars, Mars, Shadows, Untamed, Mars, Untamed, Sanctum. Like I said, 4 houses.
Is there a world wherever I'm supposed to ban Mars Untamed Sanctum? I don't think so.
I mean, if you knew the contents of the deck, you might.
And that's the fun part. I don't. You kind of know the contents of my deck because I've had some pretty crazy
I've
games.
heard some things, but let me tell you, like, even if I had your deck list, like, I don't have your entire deck list.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
if I did, I'm reasonably certain I would still only have about a 25% chance this round.
You keep saying that, and I still think we're gonna have a good set of rounds.
It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be fun. We're friends, so we're gonna have a fun time. But
Yeah.
like, I like to lower expectations as much as possible in general. But particularly in this round, I think my expectations are pretty low. We'll see.
Yeah. And what else is cool about this round is it's going to determine how the cast looks for the rest of the tournament.
That's true. Yeah.
Because you're one of my main.
Yeah, I'll hang around. Either way, hopefully I'll be in front of the camera and not behind the camera, but or in front of the other camera. Not this camera.
Yeah, not this camera.
Yeah, right.
We'll either way, good luck.
You too, man.
Good luck to everyone on your team as well. I know that the bracket's on our Discord. This guy made it up. He's never wrong.
They crammed us all. They crammed us, the SAS people. They crammed me and
our side of the bracket is stacked.
Yeah,
This is a
our
bloody
semifinal
tournament.
winner is going to be whoever wins the semifinal on our side of the bracket is going to be a well-deserved winner. Let's put it that way.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, what else? That's my mom. Hi, Mom.
She says keeps my hopes low. Your mom's talking smack to me, I think.
I think she's talking smack to me.
Oh no, I think that might have been to me, and that's fair. That's fair. Respect.
I know that I'm really excited for this tournament, and honestly, I did feel like I pulled rather well.
Yeah.
And I am still playing well, but part of these tournaments is you have to pull a good deck. There are a lot of good players that pull okay and make it, but
you have to pull reasonably well, and you have to be a good player. I mean, I joke that your decks are very good, and they are, but you're obviously a very good player. So, like, you can't just open decent decks and win, and consistently win best 2 out of 3 matches if you don't know how to play the game. That's not how it works.
Actually, that's a good point, because I've lost a lot of my games in this tournament. I went 5-1, but I lost my game 1 or my game 2 in the best 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of leniency in these rounds because it is a best 2 out of 3 with these nonsense decks.
Yeah.
Right? So you have a lot of, there is some skill in, do I switch decks? Which one do I play first? Which one do I ban?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, there is a little bit of leeway in losing. And that's kind of a cool thing. I didn't win all of my games of what I played, but somewhere between 12 and 18 games yesterday, which was, we played from 10 a.m. until, 11?
We played from, like, noon. The tournament was scheduled to start at 10.
We played, call it 10 hours?
Gem issues.
With lunch and stuff.
But no, we played 10 hours.
It was a long tournament.
Yeah. Correct.
You had to play minimum 18 games, and that's if you sweep them all. But yeah, very long tournament.
No, minimum. I was doing the math. I thought that was low, but no, that's correct. You had to play minimum. And you're right. I had several rounds where I won 2-1 in the round.
Yeah.
Because I had like a fluky loss. Because like I had a round where the opponent, I had them dead to rights, and I just had one card in hand that was going to kill them the next turn, and they gongoozled like the card out of my hand.
I did this.
So I'm like, okay, I lose.
I did the
3,
same thing the other way, and I had the what if I just gongoozle? Maybe I'll get something good. I got the cutthroat research, and I won the game on the spot.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, like, that's what happens, but that's the benefit of the best 2 out of 3 format of any best 2 out of 3 format is that you can suffer something like that and still theoretically win. So.
And I'm happy to, like,
I'm hoping to impose 2 of those on you in this round. That's my goal.
There's a lot of nonsense and theories I had about this tournament, but at the end of the day, I'm actually really happy with how this is stacking up for a Grand Championship. So prize-wise, there's fancy mats. They say actually your placement top 8, top 6. I think you have to get the top 8 to get a fancy mat. Right?
To get like the first fancy mat, and the Grand Champion is like a special mat that says Grand Champion on it.
Top 4 gets an invite to Worlds.
Correct.
And I think top 1 probably gets the whole thing. You get a flight or something.
I mean, and realistically, like, you and I probably already have Worlds invites secured. It's through the Vault Tour leaderboard.
Oh, sure.
Right, that's the reason why. Like, so it's not as like this day is super important for the people who have not had the opportunity to go to as many vaults or has not performed as well at many vaults. It's super important for the people today who do not fall into that category and likely are not. I mean, it has not been announced how many are in the ladder yet getting an invite, but like we probably will because we're both in the top 20 currently, I think.
Something like
yeah,
that.
and so we will in all likelihood, but there are a lot of people today who aren't and are literally playing for worlds or bust invites. So there's a lot of drama today.
I'm playing for whatever trophy that is, whatever mat that is,
Yeah,
whatever
it's
glory
like the
that is.
new Sanctum dude with his Grand Champion at the bottom.
I'm so hyped for this tournament. I've had a bunch of fun. Anyway,
We gotta go play.
We gotta go play.
Yeah.
Good luck. I'll
You too, sir.
meet you over there.
Likewise.
And I'm gonna turn it over to my other casters, Joe and Greg. Anyway, everyone have a good time. You guys need any help?
Nope. I think
Let me know.
we will let you know.
Good luck to everyone.
You want to go?
All right, sure. We'll slip in here. All right, everyone. Good to see you again.
Hello, Internet. Hello, YouTube. I'm Joe. I did an interview with Colby. Yeah, to the we're switching to mobile,
Yeah.
right? Yep. All right, there we go.
There we are.
And
And
you
we're-
can turn yourself off with the little eyeball. If you scroll this down,
Okay.
turn off.
See
the little-
myself. All right. You don't get to see our beautiful faces anymore. Bye.
Goodbye.
But now you get to listen to our voices.
Yes, and you'll get
Hopefully.
to see.
Oh wait, the mic is not on. Is it?
No, it looks like not. All right. Maybe do we have to turn live audio?
This. Oh yeah.
See down there. Oh, nope. It looks like it's good.
Okay. Hello. Yes. Okay.
There we are. We're good.
People can hear us. All right. So yeah, like I said, my name is Joe. Before these guys get started and we start talking about the games and the formats, I do want to give a few shout-outs. Both Greg and I hail from northern New Jersey, so I want to shout out our FLGS Highlander Games in Boonton, New Jersey. Yep, so as we love playing there, really great shop. And then I also want to shout out very quickly Adam Landon, who is running Kappa Cup. And there's going to be a great Keyforge event there that I'm going to be judging for. We're going to have some really interesting formats. That's going to be at the Holiday Inn Conference Center in Grantville, Pennsylvania on the 25th to the 27th of October. And if we have a downtime, maybe between rounds, I might talk a little bit more about that. But it looks like these guys are getting started pretty quickly here. So this is deck selection. So it looks like there have been a number of different ways that players have kind of decided how to equitably make deck selection. One of the things you have to do in this is both of the players have to choose which deck they are banning of their opponent simultaneously. So what Colby and Erich have done here is they've put tokens on, and they have one of each of those unique tokens, which I think are Colby's, in his hand. So it looks like
Interesting.
Colby has banned that deck. And okay, so then no, we have deck bannings that are taking place. So now the players have to choose one of their two remaining decks to pilot in the first match. Again, this. Okay, cool. So Colby had just brought me his deck that was just banned. Erich has banned his Mars Shadows and Dis deck. Greg and I have also talked about Colby's decks, and we were having conversations over the course of the day yesterday. This is the deck that I would have banned as well. So I think Erich has made a strong choice here. I'm going to let you talk a little bit, Greg.
So actually, Joe, I'm going to disagree a little bit, and actually, this might tell us a little bit about Erich's deck. So yesterday, I had two Mars decks. Both had Key Abduction in them, which synergizes really well if your opponent has Mars, right? Because you can basically bounce your opponent's Mars creatures and lay out a large Mars board on your own, and potentially forge a key. This might tell us that Erich might not have Key Abduction in these decks. Personally, I think I would have kept both Mars decks out on Colby for that specific reason, that maybe I could use a Key Abduction to manipulate his board. But also, Shadows is intimidating, especially in Sealed, so I can see why Erich went with banning this deck as well.
Interesting.
Yeah, so Colby's decks, I just wanted to...
Yeah, so now we're up to choosing first player.
Yep. So Colby's decks, I just wanted to add another thing. So some of the people may have seen or will see the stream game from the first match of this tournament where I played Colby. His decks are deceptively fast. Especially the Dis decks are actually quite quick in a way that you wouldn't necessarily expect from those types of decks in AOA. So that's one of the main things I believe has helped him get so far in this tournament and help him to get to 5-1. Is I think he's been quite tricky in the way that he's played and utilized his deck. So let's see.
No, having played lots of games with Colby in the past, he really does. He is very expert at thinking through and finding interesting synergies. I also wouldn't sell Erich short as well. Like Erich likes to be self-deprecating, but he really is a top tier player.
So I think one of the keys for
Erich is taking a mulligan here.
Yeah, I think one of the keys for Erich's victory here is I think against the type of decks that Colby has, he'll want to have some sort of static key manipulation. He'll want to have something. I know Colby's talked about how much Colby and Keyforge have talked about how much they really dislike this particular card in the past, but I think getting out a proclamation would be super helpful for Erich. Getting out something that could manipulate the key cost in another way. Maybe he's got resonators on his Mars there. That's going to be really helpful. Oh, this is actually a Plague-Rats deck. Interesting. So he's starting out with a Plague-Rats deck. This is going to be...
It's a hideaway hall sacrifice to make all things elusive for a while.
That's going to help, actually, if Colby drops an early...
Ooh. So interesting choice for the first blood target here. Because he has the hideaway hole, and the Plague-Rats are already elusive, I think.
Technically, you can split it.
Oh, okay.
You can. It does 2 damage.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Right. You get to choose how you want.
And what is that? That's a...
Oh, and he props the Grump Buggy early. Interesting, Colby going with the control early.
What is that upgrade?
That is, I think, a Phoenix Heart. So I think if it gets killed, it will pop back to his hand.
Okay.
Interesting. So what do you think about Colby going with control here? He must feel that the... I mean, Erich's got Mars. Mars can have some big creatures, and he's got Sanctum here. So, how do you feel about Colby getting out Grump Buggy early? Do you think that's going to help him out? Or it's going to hinder him in the end?
So I actually haven't played a lot with Grump Buggy, but man, we're blazing along here. Let's see, we have Erich's at 4 Amber, Marzian's Amber for the 2, and also that Swindle that takes him to 5. Proliferator.
And
so on Ortanu, right. And he not finished with you for nothing, and he had a binding.
So what I want to point out here is this is a very good play by Erich. Oh, he's considering it. Okay, so what we know,
so
what Erich
pops hideaway.
What we know, what Erich doesn't know, is that Colby does have a Drummer Knot combination in this deck.
You mean Drummer Chieftain?
Drummer Chieftain, yes. Drummer Chieftain combination in this deck. If he were to drop it, that would force the Drummer Knot combo to go essentially 1 extra time against that Proliferator, right? Because they're both considered elusive then. So that actually would slow down that combo a little bit against Colby. So that was actually, I think, a very good play for Erich to help him to set up a larger board to protect against. Because if Colby gets out,
right, you can't let a deck like Colby's get ahead on board as much because it looks like
especially with a Grump Buggy
Colby's got the advantage for board presence. So Erich, I think, really is trying to race in this matchup, and I think that's totally right. And I think Colby is also recognizing that.
Yes.
So I think so the popping the highway hole there, preserve the Proliferator is good.
I think it and again, I think it slows down because Colby. We'll have to do the math there, but I think Colby, if he were able to kill 3, I think he would have been able to get to check. Oh, nice play. So I think he would have been able to get to check with the Drummer Chieftain.
3 Plague-Rats. So
that's an interesting play.
That's
so
3 to everything, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So that was
for the board.
That was quite a nice. Right. Colby remembering that Drummer Knot will.
No, that's like 6 to everything, right? Because the first Plague-Rat does 1, then the second one does 2, then the third one does 3.
Yes.
So that's why. Yeah,
that's correct.
So that's killing everything.
So he's got Phoenix Heart. So Phoenix Heart is going to activate. I think Erich as the controlling player gets to choose. So he's got a choice here about what order he wants, and that's what Colby's probably explaining about what order he wants to go in. So he probably wants to maximize.
So I don't know what Phoenix Heart does, and we can't read it from here. So you know Phoenix Heart. What does it do?
So all right. So it adds an effect to a creature that's a destroyed effect that says that creature goes back to your hand instead of being destroyed, and it does 3 damage to every other creature on the field. But since there were competing effects that were in play, and Erich is the controlling player, he's the one who gets to do. So Jupiter is actually thanks for the Reminder, he's actually telling us that's what it does. So that's what Colby was saying, is he just gets to order that.
Okay.
All right, so basically, so we've got this back out. Colby's really looking for...
This is such a back and forth game right here. We had the swindle, and then we had the buggy, and then Playgrats for... Yeah, and the Phoenix Heart took out the Playgrats. Like,
there it is.
Oh, here we go.
Yep,
oh,
Colby
baby.
got it out without any kind of board against Erich.
Just
this was what Erich was trying to avoid. He may have burnt... So, knowing what Erich has in his deck now, I'm really hoping he's got.
And this is good. Colby knowing his deck too. Like, I mean, obviously, if you get the Phoenix Heart Drummer Knot, and you have Drummer Chieftain in your deck, but like, as he would say, big brain play right there.
Yeah, I mean that's what he was trying to play, and like I said, I really believe that's what Erich was trying to prevent from happening when he cracked the
Hideaway Hole. Hideaway Hole. Yeah.
That would have, I think, slowed it down, got him more time to get stuff out. Unfortunately, this is quite a tricky situation for Erich to be in. I mean, Colby is on. No one has forged keys yet, but it's going to be something that Eric's gonna have to find a way to deal with. So Spirit's Way would be nice if he happened to have a Spirit's Way.
Is he in? Yeah, he's in Sanctum. Well, like also too much to protect, right? Card I am always terrified of.
True. Yeah.
Like a TFTP is really brutal right here.
Yeah. So it looks like he's got a fistful of Mars.
I think So this is a thing Colby has talked about on this cast before, and Danny or Kira Mode has talked about it as well. Just being absolutely fearless against things like too much to protect in sealed. Just make them have it. And I am totally on board with that. And this is evidence of that in practice, and it paid off for him because Erich went into a Mars turn.
You know what I would...
And also, Colby, the timing works out there, and he can be particularly fearless because Erich just came off of a Shadows turn.
Yep.
So he would have to draw into more Shadows cards.
You know, Joe, I want to pose an idea to you. This is a hypothetical. Say Erich has Martian Generosity in hand, and it looks like he's got about 7 Ember there. Would you play Martian Generosity in this situation? You're way behind. You need to do something about Colby's board, because Colby's board, it looks like it's gonna beat the snot out of you. So would you crack for maybe 16 cards and try to get out your other utility cards to try to stop this situation?
I mean, it depends on how well you know your deck and what you're drawing for. Like this is a rough situation for Erich right now. Like the Grunt Buggy almost doesn't even matter. It's just that's a lot of big dudes generating Amber very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
He needs an answer, and he needs it fast. Something like a Spirit's Way, even like a blinding light
would be great. Yeah,
and it looks like
Radiant Truth. It's
looking at Erich's hands, he's sitting on what looks like at least 3 or 4 Sanctum cards. So he
needs Doorstep. He needs a Doorstep and a Blinding Light. That's what will keep him in this.
Doorstep
in this tournament
is good.
Well, it'll keep him in this particular line.
Free markets.
Okay, so he'll just generate some Ember.
That's fine.
So he wants to get value out of that. That's good. But yeah, he
There's the
definitely needs to stop
that
Colby
helps.
from running amok with this board.
It doesn't look like he has the Doorstep, at least at the moment. He's going to Healing Blast to make the 3. That's fine. It's stunned. Who cares? Because he's healing 4 from Kulf. He's Mighty Lance 3 and 3. Sure. Just getting value. The card's kind of cycling it. Golden Aura doesn't have a dude, and he's holding a Protect the Weak. He discards Protect the Weak. Interesting. He doesn't.
No,
the extra Ember is not worth giving his opponent's guys taunt. You don't want to make that board any better.
You know what? I might in that situation. I might play it on Ganger Chieftain because he's going to try to bounce it. So I think it probably would have been a safe play.
Well, I don't know, because the value of if you're gonna bounce Chieftain, you're gonna bounce it, right? You're not gonna say, well, my opponent put a Protected Weak on it, so I'm not gonna bounce my Chieftain for value. I don't think personally.
No, that's what I'm saying. No, that's what I'm saying is I think Erich could have played it on Chieftain because Colby is much more likely to bounce it than he
Oh,
is.
okay, right. And
He
then
coulda
you,
gotten
and
the
you
amber
get
out.
your amber and you don't
Again,
really care.
it may
but,
not. Again, it may.
But then you're also you're putting it on a flank, right?
Yeah.
And so then you can put something next to the taunting Drummer Knot. Like you
Yes.
put the Tesmal next to your
well, that's true. It would
I
have
don't
ended
know.
up.
But this is just a very, very difficult situation for Erich. Colby's Brobnar board got out of hand very quickly. Like having Drummer Chieftain immediately after the Plague Rat turn. Erich has been like unfortunately playing from
Eric's
behind most
wait,
of this game.
Take a look at this. Erich's got 2 Mars Needs Embers. This is exactly like that deck that you told me I should have played at Gen Con. This is basically my Gen Con deck.
All right. So we got Mars Needs Amber, Mars first. Oh no, he's just showing for Mother Gun.
Yes.
But this is what's coming.
So
there's
he's
the
going to
Mars
use
Needs
Mother
Amber.
Gun to deal some damage to guys, and then he's going to
That
siphon away a little bit of Colby's Ember.
and he needs
He's
that,
going to Mars Needs first to take him
which is just enough.
Just enough
to
for
take
right
him off
now,
check.
yeah.
Yep. So that buys him.
So he lives for another day, and he's ghosted into check. So that would be helpful.
And it
for
looks
him
like
too.
he's holding 3 Shadows cards. So I think he's like trying for a big Shadows turn here. The Grump Buggy is increasing by how much?
Oh,
1, 2, 3,
the
4.
Grump. Yes. So he's actually not in check. Correct.
Well,
Eric's not in check.
right.
Not at
Eric's
the
not
moment.
check. Right. Erich needs to forge for 10, which is absolutely brutal. Erich desperately needs like a board wipe of some kind. The Blinding Light was very helpful.
Yes.
And forced Colby to stop calling Brobnar and stop the bleeding. But like I think one of the issues with this is Erich's got to deal with that board, because he is behind.
Colby's going to Tesmal him. So let's see. I think
Probably Tesmal him out of Shadows.
Shadows definitely.
Right? Just like
Well. Okay. So
depend. Yeah. Also,
he can make. So he can get up to. He can get up to 7 if he Tesmals him and
Oh, is it Chirrut?
Erich goes Mars. He could take 1 off. And Colby might think maybe he's got another Mars first in there, so he could potentially take him off 7.
So he's reaping with his disc here. So that's going to stun the Amber Amp and the Tesmal. So
Yeah.
Erich might be able to use the fact that he knows that Colby can't.
He's gonna go.
Tesmal
Yeah,
him.
he's gonna go.
Tesmal for Shadows. Thank you, Colby, for pointing at the house. That's very helpful. Doesn't want to see more Plague Rats, sure. I mean, we've already seen 4 of them. So there's probably no more than 3 more. Okay, and that's it. Eric Scoops.
All right, so Joe, I want to take a second here while they're putting their things away. So there's something that we talked about, and I know you feel very strongly about, and I've had other thoughts about, and that is you're Erich right now. Let's say you're Erich, and you're kind of behind the 8 ball. You need to win a game. Do you switch your deck? So you have the option of switching your deck.
So let's talk about this, because
Yes.
like Colby and Eric didn't mention this in kind of the pre-match. thing.
Colby mentioned it in passing, but he didn't really go into it.
Right. So in Triad of any kind, if you win, you must change to your other non-banned deck. Right. So you have 3 decks. One of them got banned. Of your 2 remaining decks, if you win with one of them, you cannot play that deck for the rest of the match, and you have to switch to your other one. But if you lose, you have the choice to stay with the same deck or change to your other one. And I am a proponent of sticking with the same deck, because it's a deck you have to win with in order to win the match. Now this is a top cut, so when I was in the Swiss yesterday, I made that decision primarily because I knew it was going to be a long event, and I wanted to keep my mental fortitude up as much as possible.
Yeah. So
That's the argument for not switching. The argument for switching is your opponent knows what's in your deck, and so if you give them an opportunity to forget what's in your deck, it may provide you a small strategic advantage in Game 3. So I think that switching may be wiser as a strategy in a cut, but I don't know about.
So actually, so Jupiter makes a good point in the chat, and I think this is actually the strategy that I took. So I went first with every game that I had to play that Brobnar deck. I went first with my weakest deck, and I most of the time switched because I wanted to have. So if you think about it this way, if you don't switch, your opponent now has a little bit of a strategic advantage, right? Because they're taking 2 decks you don't know, you haven't seen either deck. So do you want to end your round having not taken full advantage of using a deck that your opponent hasn't seen yet? I think if you're starting out with a weak deck, you want to take advantage of the fact that you have a deck in your reserve that your opponent still hasn't seen. So at least that way you can get the full advantage out of it.
I mean, but the thing is, you're going to come up against that matchup one way or the other, right? So it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when you're going to have that matchup. Do you want to do that matchup first, or do you want to do that matchup second? I agree with you, Jupiter. I usually start with my weakest deck. Oh my god! I mean, so
he's just flexing on him.
Game
He's
two
just flexing on Erich. That's what he's doing right now.
and you get info.
He doesn't even care at all.
You get
Look,
info for game 3.
look,
Yeah, no,
look at this guy. He just plays a too much to protect
not-
for
not-
the Amber.
Not a care in the world.
Colby does not care.
All right, I'm gonna hold on.
Joe's gonna let him know about that. All right. So after all that, Erich actually decides to maintain the same deck. So let's think about this. So this is Colby's deck. So it's Shadow's Sanctum, and I forget what I think maybe also Untamed. Does Colby not care?
Not only does he not care, so this is the thing. According to the rules, you do not have to play with your Archon card face down. You can. So what Colby is doing is completely within the tournament regulations. Like, he's choosing to reveal information to his opponent. Right, he says that's not illegal. Well, the thing is, Colby is actually, I went to the table and I asked him, he said it's a strategic, like, he's using it strategically. Like, he wants to be able to reference what's in his deck. And, and Erich said as much. Erich is like, I can't read small text upside down across the table. Like, and even if I could, like, so Colby is doing this on purpose for a strategic reason.
He's flexing. He's flexing.
I wouldn't have gone and asked them, but it is not against the tournament rules. Yeah.
Okay, so
So we have Mac. So Mac is, what happened to Mac? What's that shield token?
stun maybe. I'm not really sure. I didn't really see what Erich played there.
Yeah, sorry.
He may have.
These guys
he may
are
have,
playing so fast. We're starting game 2, 18,
Yeah.
like
So
15 minutes.
anyway,
into
as it turns out, Erich did not switch his deck, so he's still on the Plague-Rats deck. This might. This may be.
Oh, dude, another big board.
Yeah,
like Erich's deck, evidently has trouble dealing with big boards, and had a big Brobnar board last time. Now we have a big Sanctum board to deal with.
And let me tell you another reason why I.
Oh, they're armor tokens.
Yes.
It's
Oh,
for
okay.
Amon. That's what he's
Yeah,
doing. He's
and
marking armor
let me tell you another reason why I don't necessarily really like this choice, Joe, is because see, look, 3 armor, right? That's so there's going to be no damage on those 2 creatures. That means that Erich's not going to get the value out of his Mars Needs Ember later on. When you're choosing to play against a Sanctum deck, or when you're playing against a Sanctum deck, you got to think about that armor. You got to think about the fact that they're not going to take damage directly onto them. So that's gonna lessen the value of Erich's strategy here.
Yeah, no,
So
I mean, and this comes back to like a hard like banning decision thing. Because like again, I agree with Erich's ban choice, but like given how much like his deck seems to have trouble with big boards, like I might have been afraid of Sanctum.
I would tend to agree. Yes, though honestly, the deck he banned is pretty bananas as well. So
Yeah, no, like I said, I agree with his ban decision, but like this is just one of the interesting and good things about this format. Oh, I have a Scowly Caper. That's interesting. I'm gonna eat some Plague Rats.
Yep.
Oh, brutal! That little neb.
So that was a play that really hurt you in your last game, right? Your opponent, or no, you had it against your opponent where you had a Merc the Marked next to a little Nif. So it was capture 1 when it dealt damage and steal 1. So
Yes.
it ended up turning into a 4 Amber swing against your opponent every time that creature attacked, which was pretty brutal.
Yeah. Protect the weak on Scowly Caper. This is interesting. Yep, and Scowly Caper eats a Plague Rat.
So this is also going to be tough, right? Because one of the things that kept Erich in the game last time is he was able to get out that...
The big Plague Rats.
Well, the Plague
Wow.
Rats, but also the Blinding Lights. But
Wow. Yeah.
he's going to want to get them out before he plays his Sanctum board, right? Because otherwise he's going to have to stun Sanctum, and that's not going to be helpful for him to play against Colby.
Yeah.
Because Colby also has, because he's going to have to get some utility out of that. Okay, so there goes Mr. Caper.
Yeah. So we're gonna see if. Okay, Colby did not miss his Mac the Knife. He was getting on himself about that yesterday, about missing his Mac the Knife. I agree with you, Danny. I think Colby does have his decks are very good, and he's been playing extremely well this weekend.
I knew that.
Very confidently.
I knew that
quickly.
from game one.
Yeah, no, and his pools are strong. He understands his decks very well.
Yep. Yeah. So see now, 2 of Erich's Plagrats are in the discard. So he's unless he's got another one there, he's still not. Oh, okay. This time he will get some value out of Mars Needs Amber eventually. So, but he had to get 2 more Plagrats in order to make that work.
And here's the thing too, Erich is managing to generate lots of amber without reaping. Like, so he's in check at 7 with the Surmeros in play.
And it looks like he does have Mars Needs Amber in hand.
So like Erich, this is an indication that I think Erich has a good grasp on his, like, he needs to race in order to win against Colby's decks, and it seems like, you know, his draws are cooperating and he's maximizing, you know, like not letting Colby get value out of Marrows.
Oh, so
Obad takes him off.
I think the only way that Erich is going to pull this out is if he's got some more board removal in that deck that we haven't seen yet. The Plagrats are good. The Plagrats are helpful, but I don't know if he has a way to cycle them. In those particular houses, it seems unlikely. But
the other thing too is, like, we know that, I forget exactly what the minimum for Plagrats is. It's like 6, I think.
No, I think you have like 3.
Okay.
But anyway,
I mean, this deck
he has at least 4. I think we've seen 4.
We've seen 4. And so I think if he's racing and trying to cycle cards aggressively, the answer could be cycle through my deck and hit them again. Because, like, this deck, Colby hasn't been nearly explosive with his amber generation. Like, he's generating a good board state, but his... Yeah, see, like, this is, again, I like this play from Erich, because he's like, I want to call shadows here, I want to rush, I want to use my board, and I don't care if I, you know, get value out of this sucker punch. Like, it's valuable enough to me. Oh, and the third Plagrat.
So, all right, so at least 5 Plagrats.
Never mind. This play was even better because he used the sucker punch into the Plagrat to take out Obad. So this is even better. Like, I was just saying, I think it would have been better if he had played sucker punch just, like, for Amber and maybe a damage for Mars Needs Amber later, but, like, he actually, you know, killed it.
I am still worried about Colby's board. I'm still worried about...
Mars first, Mind Worm in to kill all the Plagrats seems okay.
Silly.
Oh, no, one of them's elusive, so, okay.
Yeah.
Shockworm.
All right, so he's got huge board control down here. So, yeah, so,
right.
Again,
Looks
so now
like
Erich's
Erich
Plagrats are gone.
But Erich forges, and, like, Erich
That's true.
Erich is almost an entire key ahead at this point. I mean, Colby's ahead on board, but, like, and I really like how Erich is, like, really waiting, like, trying to find a really opportune time for that hideaway hole, because he knows, like, he might need it to win the game.
That'll be another little bit of board control there.
Oh, Colby's key's not visible? I don't think he has any.
I thought Colby forged once already.
No, because I don't think Colby has forged a key yet, because he puts his keys, like, right below his mother gun. Like, that's I think how he puts it on board. I also wanted to go back to a comment that Danny had here in the chat, where he says 3 good decks is good. I think, like, Danny, the rough thing about this format is, even if you have... Okay, he has 1, so we can't see them. Thank you, Danny. So that's not true. So then Colby's actually still a little ahead.
Yeah.
Even if you have 1 dud deck in this format, that can really be bad if your opponent doesn't ban it. So, like, if you have to play your bad deck, that can unfortunately lose you a match, which is just kind of like a unique thing about this format. Like, it's better, again, as you said, Danny, to open, like, 3 okay decks than, like, even 2 good ones and a bad one.
Yeah, for sure. All
right, I'm gonna go see if we can get Colby's keys on.
Yeah, let's do that. All right, so from my count, Erich should still have a Mars Needs Amber left. Somebody in the chat can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he had at least 2 in that deck. So he's still going to be able, with those mother guns, to deal some damage to a couple guys, probably Mind Warper and the Harvester, and get some keys, or get some Ember away from Colby.
Okay, so I didn't confirm.
Okay, so
Colby
he's-
has actually not forged a key yet.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, yeah.
So he's going to deal 3 damage to a Shockworm. Okay choice. And another 3 damage to the other Shockworm. Then he's going to go Mars needs Ember. Yep.
Mars needs Ember.
Yep. Great Mars needs Ember. It's
1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like. He's still forging.
Yep. Nice. So he's going to be able to collect probably that Abe down there? Or
Maros.
Oh, no.
Maros. It's Sir Maros.
No, he's being, but he's
Oh,
he's
Shawl,
taunted.
right. He's
Yeah.
got Shawl. Yeah.
Oh, you know what?
So with the Mars...
Erich made a mistake, actually. So Colby knows this because Colby made this mistake against me when he played me the first round. So it actually says, Mars Needs Ember says undamaged non-Mars creatures.
Oh, that's
capture
right.
Ember.
That's right.
So that's actually
Totally.
Colby made that mistake against when he played against me. Not a mistake, but he didn't realize that. and-
Well, it's not a mistake because both of Colby's Sanctum creatures, which are the only non-Mars creatures in play, were already damaged.
Yes.
So you might as well get value out of your damage effects, but that's definitely true. Mars never does say non-Mars.
In that case, may have been a better idea for Erich to pop the Mind Warper and the Harvester, just to slow Colby down a little bit, but...
Mother gun for 2 kills. Plague Rat. Okay. Colby's decks have such good board presence and solid synergy.
Looks like Erich got his Blinding Light back, so that'll be helpful if he's got any kind of... unfortunately, it doesn't look like there's any other board out for Erich at this moment.
Liberator. We're looking at 6 Mars creatures. Yuck.
He's gonna... Alright, so...
Yeah, here it comes. Yep, Blinding Light Mars. You have to. It stuns your own collector worm, but you have to. There's just no choice there.
He could have...
Yep. Again, I like this. I like Erich just be like, you have a big board, dude, but like I have to race. Like the
Yes.
only way I'm gonna beat you is to race.
Yep.
And so I like Erich's game plan.
Yep.
Shawl next to collector worm is not, it's fine. But yeah, no, he's getting what value he can, but
Yep,
he's
and
really
well-
prioritizing cycling.
So, what's your home run card here? If you're Erich, what do you use to really try to pull this game out that Colby's not expecting? I don't think there's much that Colby doesn't expect, but
So like if Erich's got a Flotsam, Carpet Flotsam,
Yes.
like that
Yep.
could be very helpful. Cause like
or Floam Spike.
yep,
If
or-
those
right,
creatures go away, Floam Spike just collapse the board.
right.
Yep.
So given how Erich has been playing, I don't. Because it's like
So
how hard do you manipulate your own board in order to set up Carbon Flotsam, right? We cannot see that card next to Sir Maros.
That's
He'll move it down.
oh, it's a it's
no,
Eye of Judgment.
No. Oh, there's a creature
Oh, there's a
on the
creature,
left side
yeah.
of Sir Maros that we cannot see.
So
Okay.
Colby's gonna unstun his Mars on his Sanctum turn, which is a nice choice.
What's going on here?
Well,
Yeah,
we'll see. We'll see, Dan. We'll see what happens.
I think Erich is Erich is looks like writing on the wall type things here. Okay. Yeah, we'll look back at it, Danny. I don't, because I went in and I asked him, and they both said he hadn't forged. So, but honestly, it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's gonna matter. No discredit to Erich, but yeah, it looks like it might be Borden, the redeemed, all the way down on the end.
Yeah,
there,
it is, you're
next
right.
to Maros. So that's additionally bad. I mean, Eric's a 2 keys, but like he doesn't appear to have the tools to set up like a key cheat, right? Looks like he's holding a bunch of Sanctum.
Not in, yeah.
He's got a mixed hand, which is like you don't want to mix hand.
He's not going to have enough to pull off like a key abduction or just epic quest. Yeah, there's nothing. This looks like it was so. Thinking back, what would be the point where you could have, if you were Erich, you could have turned this around. You could have stopped Colby from getting this huge board out.
I don't know. It feels like the tool that Erich's deck has to deal with boards is Plague
Rats,
Rats.
right? Yeah.
And like Blinding Light a little bit.
I think you were right with trying to cycle to the Plague Rats. I think that was probably a...
No, I mean, I think
probably was,
Erich
his option.
evaluated the kinds of decks that he was afraid of playing against and said, I have to try and race. And I think he did that relatively well. Like, I haven't seen any... Okay, well, here's a Plague Rats,
that'll
and,
be a good game.
that's it. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so
taking at 6. Yeah, he had Plague Rats, but no Steel in Shadows. Yeah, it was... As soon as Erich started, like, feverishly shuffling his hand, I'm like, nah, he doesn't think... it's probably not going to get there.
Like I said, those decks were deceptively fast and also had a gigantic board presence. So...
Yeah,
it was going to be rough.
Having tons of dudes. Yeah, one like the Brobnar in the first game with the buggy and the giant dudes, and then having the Sanctum guys, like particularly Shawl next to Marrows, was very difficult. Like Erich, it took him forever to come up with something to deal with that, and by the time he found something, it was kind of too late. Yeah, and also just like your deck needing to rely on Mars Needs Amber, but then your opponent just plays 7 Mars dudes, and it
and you don't get any value out of it.
What's usually an excellent combo with your Plague Rats into your Mars Needs Amber becomes super bad when your opponent has nothing but Mars. So like that was just kind of a rough beat for Erich.
So do you want to switch back to? Let's see.
Okay, look at my beautiful face, internet. There we go.
Hey, we're back.
I wish I had my BDQ shirt. I had my BDQ shirt on.
I didn't run mine.
All right, but
you can pull,
anyway.
Yeah, you can pull the.
So that's round 1. So Colby is now into top 8. And like I will echo again what Kiramode said, what Danny said. I think he has a real chance to win this event.
He does.
Like he's
I think so.
been crushing it. Like he was 5-1 yesterday, but like his only loss was to Grant, who won 6-0, who was the 1-6-0 in the event. So like,
do you know any? I don't know anything about Grant's decks actually. I didn't really talk to him.
I
know he's got some shadows, but I don't really know what it is.
I don't either. But like I'm gonna be able to turn this over to. I think that the top 8 game is going to be casted by Erich, and I think Z also from Team SAS.
Yep. So
we're going to turn it over to them in just a minute. But again, I kind of tried to jam this in right at the beginning, but I wanted to shout out again Adam Landon, Cup 4, October 25th to 27th, out near Harrisburg, Grantsville, Pennsylvania. Like I said, we're going to be doing experimental formats for Keyforge. Our main event is going to be Adaptive Short. So just want to give that shout out again. And here's the boss. I have to get up and give him his chair back.
Nice job, dude. Thank you.
Yeah,
No,
sit. Oh, you sure? Oh, okay.
Hey, yeah, no, that was a high roll. Did I miss a forge? I don't think I did.
We're pretty sure that you did.
Danny is convinced you did.
Okay, whatever. Oh, look at all. There's people chatting.
Yes.
Oh, you guys rock.
Mostly Jupiter and Kiramode.
Awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, no. Game 1 was a super big high roll. Game 2 was a good roll, and then I didn't lose my board.
Yes. So did one thing we were talking about? Did Erich not realize that Mars Needs Ember doesn't capture Ember on
Yes,
Mars? Guys, I knew it because you saw that in the first game.
Yes, I did.
You
I
remember that.
played badly into that, and so I remembered it this time. The other thing is he was holding a Mars Needs Amber and a Mars first. He thought he was holding 2 Mars Needs Amber.
Oh no!
Which
oh
is,
no!
Yeah,
Oh, no.
it was rough. But yeah, he did.
Also, it didn't end up mattering that he was.
Did I close out game 1 right? With the Tesmon to Shadows?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. Yeah, we were definitely saying that was definitely the move.
Yeah,
Sure.
there were other more aggressive plays, but I think that was
So there was
like
a lot
the
of stuff
safest.
that you didn't see in his Shadows pool.
Yeah, I was looking at
that
his
you didn't know
discard and I was counting cards and I'm like, look, there's the Mind Warper on the table, but yeah. Real quick, you guys keep chatting. Maybe I'll have Erich come over or something.
sure.
I'm gonna try to grab another game that's between games when they come in, and then just throw them on the stream too. So we'll have more games.
Let's do it.
All right. So keep chatting.
Is that okay with you, John?
You want us to put the Eric's gonna come over? All right, you get up. I'll chat with Erich.
All right, yeah. So Joe's gonna chat with Erich.
I don't know. Here, you can sit down until. All right, so we're gonna put the.
We're flip flopping.
All right. So we're gonna put. Let's see. Let's go back to here. Yeah. So Colby said, "Aw, Ms. Bernardo, your mom gave you a shout out.
Aw, I
She
love you,
said
Mom.
congratulations."
Yeah. Here, I'm just gonna. Yeah, and I guess it's still this.
All right.
I don't know if you guys.
Okay.
Oh, I'm fine.
Okay. So again, we were talking about. I mean, I think we mentioned this a little bit, but I think as a player community, like you and I talked a lot about this, because we play a lot at our LGS, and like Colby and like other BDQ and the SAS guys, we were all talking about like we kind of had misgivings about this format coming into it. Like we found out at Gen Con that we had to like ban based on houses, and we were like, that does not sound good. Like that sounds super random and doesn't sound great. But then we all came here and we played the event, and it ended up that we liked the format a lot better than we thought we would. Like it's very long. 100 minutes is a long time, but there's a lot more to. And we were talking about like other people in the community who had tested Sealed Triad prior to Nationals, and they had some really interesting insights about like, you know, knowing your decks and, you know, how you're making ban decisions, and like, well, my deck is good at this, so I'm more afraid of that.
Yeah.
There's actually a lot of interesting decisions to make in this format that you didn't, you know, like I would not have thought of, and like I was initially dismissive of this format, but now having played it, it was. It was fun. I really liked it.
So here's a question that I want to pose. Do you think that this particular type of seal is more difficult or more helpful to newer players who don't know the card rules?
I think this is an excellent format for nationals, right? For Grand Championships. No, like this, cool, because like first of all, it's a huge time commitment.
Yes,
right.
For
Like
sure,
it's a very long
it's
tournament.
a long tournament.
But I also think this is no. I don't think.
Well,
I don't think
okay.
3-game formats. All right, so we're gonna get.
Yeah, so
we're gonna get Erich.
Erich on here.
So, am I getting up?
Yeah.
Okay.
I need another exit on that side of the table. It's not.
It's all right.
It's not gonna happen.
That's fine.
All right,
All right.
Erich.
Don't say I didn't told you so.
No,
'Cause
yeah.
I done told you so.
You done told me so, and I had
did.
to done do it to you. Let me see the Bumblebird sleeves.
Yeah.
So like, why this is arguably the worst card in the set, but
It's definitely not the worst card in the set.
arguably
No.
it's cute though. I
It
like
is
it
not
for
the
sleeves.
worst card in the set. It's definitely bottom 25%, but it is not
And
the
it
worst card in the
it
set.
says 19 on them, so that's kind of cool. I'm a
And then
fan.
Keys, the mini keys for
The mini keys, they show the little 19 wing, not to cover your face or anything.
it's fine. Top 16. Handmade day 2. I'm happy.
You did.
Yeah.
And you wanna jump in and cast maybe something with Z next round?
Yeah, I'll talk to Z, see if he's on board with that. I mean,
Alright.
I'm on board with that. Whatever.
Yeah, I'd love to have the two of you casting.
Yeah, that'd be cool. And
Yeah.
there may be some SAS on SAS violence next round. That's going to be some excellent subject matter if we can
Yeah.
persuade them. If they both win, I mean I played them both, so I can.
Who am I playing?
You are playing the winner of Justin from Tabletop Royale.
I think I know him.
You're playing the winner of that matchup. I don't.
Okay.
He was saying he's not going to win before the round. I don't know if that was like my level. I'm not going to win.
When
or like someone
could I
else's
play
level.
Grant?
Semis.
Because I played him in the finals and lost to him in
You could play him in semis.
very good games. I know my bans now. I'm banning a different deck now.
Okay.
Yeah.
See if that
would be
works
a-
out for you.
That'd be a cool thing. Yeah.
It probably will work out for you, actually.
Anyway, I'm gonna jump up.
All right.
I'm gonna try to
let
find
me-
another game.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Oh, you're to find another game to put
I
on
wanna
right
put
now.
a- I wanna put another game on.
So stick with us. stream.
If you guys, I could pause it. Do you guys want to keep chatting? Yes.
Yeah, or
Yeah,
do
okay.
that. Yeah,
That's fine. If Z doesn't want to do it, Erich, I'd be totally happy.
Absolutely.
to do it.
Yeah.
All right. We're rocking and rolling.
Hey,
we're
we're
playing.
rocking.
We're playing musical chairs. We're just kind of like doing whatever. So what were we saying? It's a good format for nationals.
Yes.
Yeah, Seal Try is a good format
Yeah.
for nationals because it does reward people who can pilot multiple decks skillfully, who know how to like
for
make
sure.
like deck selection decisions, and it's like, and the thing is, because you're banning on houses, you're rewarded for knowing what like houses in this set are
exactly.
good at,
That's what I was
right?
thinking.
So
yes.
like my thing is
So-
like a lot of us were saying, well, you don't just auto ban shadows, but like the other thing, like my argument for saying, well, you do want to consider the shadows ban is a lot of the really powerful effects in shadows are unpredictable.
Yes.
Right, like you're too much to protect. Even your little things like nerve blast and whatnot, and you can get really blown out. Like,
or you may have
there is a player in the top 16 who has routine jobs in his deck. So like,
Yes, that
like
I know for a
that's
fact.
also a thing, right? So like you know, and it's just like if there's a thing like you want to weigh your options. You don't just want to auto ban shadows, but like you do want to consider things like that because it's like Brobnar is very powerful in AoA, but a lot of those things they come down on the table. And then you have chances to answer them, where a lot of those shadows things are like things that happen immediately. Like there are events, things like Plague-Rat, right? Like Plague-Rat's just like, here's my value, like here's my board wipe, right? So like,
and I think we also saw this
Yeah,
in a previous. So one of the things, if someone may have seen the previous cast, one of the things that maybe even have stand a chance against Colby in my third game is I had my Brobnar, while being not great, had a Maverick Lash of Broken Dreams, which is something that I don't think he was, could have anticipated.
right? Well,
so
you
Mavericks,
can't play
Mavericks
around
are
Mavericks
exactly.
and Legacies. You can't play around Legacies either.
Exactly.
Like, I almost got blown out in my stream game at Gen Con by a Legacy Dexter.
Yeah.
Right? Because he's like, so it's like, yeah, you just can't play around those things. Like, and to be honest, like, things that are in the houses they're supposed to be and the set they're supposed to be in are things that, like, people will forget or not consider sometimes. Like, there's a big card pool.
Yeah.
So
it definitely rewards players for being able to respond or to think of different ways to respond to what is generally in decks and what potentially could be in decks, rather than looking at it and saying, okay, my opponent has one too much to protect, so I'm going to try to play around that the whole game, or all right, my opponent has Rupture Graft, so I'm going to have to do something
burn a
about
stockpile.
that. Yeah.
Any of those like big play around me cards. But like, so I would say in summary of like this conversation, like it is not a format that is good for new players or people who are new to the game because it rewards skillful tactical play because you have to pilot multiple decks over the course of the day. Like I played all 3 of my decks multiple times yesterday during the Swiss. So you have to have like good gameplay fundamentals and like see little things. And then you also are rewarded for extensive knowledge of the card pool. And those are things that new players, again, it's just a matter of dedicating time to it. So like if you have dedicated time to it, you're gonna know more of those things. You're gonna have better chances. So yeah, I would say it's not a good format for new players, but it's a good format generally, and it's a good format for a high profile tournament like Nationals because we're the tryhards. So we're the guys who like drive 4 hours on a Thursday night and then go and play a 12-hour tournament. So, and then lose our win-in-ins.
All right, so
we both lost our win-in-ins.
Yeah, we did.
For top 16, which is why we're
but
here
we
and
got
not
to
inside.
we got to cast, which is the real victory.
That's right.
Honestly,
that's right.
If we're being honest. But yeah, so just not to belabor the point, but just the last thing I was thinking about
Let's see if he's gonna
is
go ahead.
What do you think about if this was so if we had been able to see the lists, how would that have affected it? Do you think? If it was, or even if you were able to see maybe the lists that you didn't ban or something.
So personally,
like
I like playing blind. I prefer that. Like I thought it's like,
No one feels like interrupting their game mid-set to jump on
to
stream.
jump on stream. Oh, okay.
that. Fair enough.
I'm getting good reviews for you guys.
Oh, okay.
You guys want to stay on for the
Cool.
next round, probably? We'll talk about it.
Yeah, or like
Sure,
me and
I mean, we could do
Eric,
that.
or me and Z, or whoever wants to do it. Like I'd be happy to continue doing it. But what was I saying? Right. So I was talking about like the benefits of playing blind, like not being able to look at your opponent's Archon card. This is a card like this is a thing that when I was initially playing this game, I'm like, this is a dumb rule. Why does this exist? But I have this thing like former Magic player. We'll talk about Magic for a little bit. So like in Magic you have these counter spells. So it's like if you it's this thing that your opponent says, oh, you can't do this. So if you have options. So it's like if I play around it and they don't have it, I've made the wrong decision, right? Because I played around something and didn't make the optimal. If I don't play around it and they have it, I've also made the wrong decision. And then the only circumstance where I made the right decision is where I play around it and they have it. And sometimes you do that and it works. I had a game where I played around a burn the stockpile that I knew my opponent had for like 4 turns and won a game because of it, right? So like sometimes that works, but like I feel like if you're looking at Archon cards, you can fall into a circumstance where you're like, well, I know he has it too much to protect. What if he has the too much to protect? And it's like that situation with the counterspell, where it's like if you play around it when you shouldn't, and this is, Colby, something that you did. I comment on the stream because you have talked about on the cast about, especially in Sealed.
In Sealed.
Make them have it.
Yeah.
Right? And
Definitely.
because like you like reaped up really high, and he's like make him have it. Like he's got the shadows, make him have it.
He was
and
playing,
and
he was
it
playing
worked out
Shadows deck,
perfectly.
and
Yeah.
I just reaped
Right,
to like
and
14.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it paid huge dividends and was the right decision. So
I've been doing that all tournament.
yeah. And I agree
Yeah.
with you. Like you said it on this cast,
Yep.
and you were absolutely right.
And notably, hi.
Hey.
And notably, that wrecks me in Archon. When I went to Archon
Yeah.
at Gen Con, I reaped to like my normal numbers because I was going fast, you know?
Yeah.
And I got too much to protected for like 6, and then I got doorstepped for like 5, and I lost so many games because not only can I expect them to have it in hand, but I can expect them to have it in deck, and I wasn't adjusting my playstyle accordingly because I don't like that playstyle. I want to go fast.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's a fair thing. Well, and the thing too is like it's not as simple as playing around or not playing around it. It depends on where you are in the game.
Yeah.
The more into the game you are, the more likely they are to have it. Right? Like this came up in my game yesterday with the burn the stockpile, where like he had reshuffled his deck, right? So I knew he had burn the stockpile. He reshuffled his deck, but then he had just played a Logos turn. We like had like 2 Igors and like drew 3 other cards. I'm like, he's gotta have it.
Yeah.
And he did. So like
Yeah.
so like it's nuanced.
The way I like to mitigate that is that's when you look at your opponent's discard pile and you say, okay, they have about 4 Shadows cards left. They have they have 6 Brobnar cards left. They must have some in their hand, and one of them is going to be burned.
Yeah.
You know, if they've
Yeah.
only got 2 Brobnar cards left, even if one of them is the burn, I'm okay with them having
Yeah,
it.
because there's still a large percentage chance that it's maybe
And their
in the
turn
deck.
is
Yeah.
garbage.
Yeah,
If
that's
their
true.
turn is burn past, then fine.
Right. Yeah.
And you probably read
Yeah.
back
Yeah.
anyway. So,
But yeah.
all right. So in that instance, then you almost that kind of increases the utility of cards. Like one of my favorite cards, and I think from Phil, the Australian national champion.
Okay.
One of his favorite cards is Punctuated Equilibrium, which is like a Wheel of Fortune from Magic.
Yes.
I love that card. I think it's a great card, and I think it's a great card to have in Sealed.
Well,
Because not only do you get more cards to play, it's incredible if like the one deck that I have, if you can Helper Bot into it and get more Logos cards.
Yeah.
And you also get to see more cards in your opponent's deck as you're going through,
Yeah.
which I think is a huge
And I think,
advantage
like,
in Sealed.
Punctuated Equilibrium, like how you value that card can indicate like your experience level as a player.
Sure.
Right? Because it's like one of those cards you're like, all right, whatever. I guess it like draws me some cards and stuff.
Yeah.
But like when you understand that like one of the strategic elements of Keyforge is that you want to build up hands, and you do want to do a lot of handcrafting.
Sure.
Right? So you can like play 3, 4, 5 cards of one house in a turn. And if you know, particularly your opponent is like building up to a big Shadows turn, or they're holding a doorstep, or a burn a stockpile,
Or
and
like in
you can-
Chainbound, where you had that crazy Sharkomedes deck where you
Oh my
you
God,
drew like
yeah.
your 3 Ronnie Risk Clocks or however many you have in that deck.
Right. Well, yeah, because like I have an Archon deck that I play for AOA. It's like double Igor, double Philo the Researcher.
Yeah.
Draws tons of cards. You know, and I was like, it's a like craft your hand really hard kind of deck, and he Punctuated Equilibrium, man. It was like, won that game,
You did.
but it was a lot harder because of that. So, all right, what's
I'm sorry.
do we want to go to background for a little bit?
I'm fixing a thing.
We're just rambling, so I don't know
Yeah, we're
if
just-
people
we're just
are like
riffing off
actually
of whatever.
watching.
Man, I love rambling.
Yeah.
Watch. Ba-boom. Did I do it?
Did you do it?
I did do it.
Is it time?
Oh, nice.
Look at
we
this.
have the chat on there.
There,
Excellent.
that's why there's
Excellent.
that whole space, right?
makes sense.
But
That makes sense.
it's one of the things I forgot to do the thing.
But
yeah.
this is just the YouTube chat, right? It's the
Yeah,
same.
it's just-
It's the same as
okay.
the
But now it's actually on the video,
yeah, so people can see it.
Cool.
like if I just have
Excellent.
the video. But yeah. right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll jump to we'll be right back. We're not gonna stop the stream, but we're just gonna be right back.
Okay.
Peace.